Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the inaugural season of the NASCAR Class C Maconi Setup Shop Fix Series, the first of many for this recently rebranded series. This evening, we are excited to be bringing you top split action for the weekly Strength of Field race from iRacing's virtual Watkins Glen International from Watkins Glen, New York. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing in the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight's action is Will Tiller, with Eddie Smith working the controls as our producer, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Will, Watkins Glen is a fan and driver favorite, especially when with its high-intensity action around this relatively short but incredibly fun road course layout. What can fans expect to see tonight from the Glen?
Absolutely. This is the OG of the road courses here at the Glen. You got 2.45 miles, just about 2.5 miles here from the Glen, Watkins Glen, New York. Track opened in 1948. Last major change happened about 31 years ago, so it has stayed completely the same. 6 to 10 degrees of banking depending on the corner, with large elevation changes, including that turn 1 that is downhill, a tough braking zone. And tonight we're utilizing the Cup layout with the back stretch bus stop and no boot.
In turn, these drivers expecting to have a bit of a busy time once there's 16 laps on the docket tonight. Talking verbally about the point standings entry tonight, Jacob Snyder enters tonight as the series points leader. Keep in mind, he missed last time out S.O.F a couple weeks ago. Keep in mind as well, Ryan Andrew is right on his tail within 50 points. The pressure is on for those respective drivers to see if they can battle it out for the point standings championship this season in the series. But also keep in mind, with this road course, not as many points potentially on the line, but keep in mind as well, it's still a fairly solid S.O.F to get those points here tonight with several pro drivers in the field. Will.
Absolutely. It's going to be an exciting night here as we check out qualifying. Just kicking off, we're going to see our first driver on the track here, Justin. 2 laps of qualifying at the Glen. That's Connor Yursak right there. A little sliding through the corners a little bit there, Justin, but he does have the fast lap so far.
Yursak, indeed, one of the drivers who surprised many competitors a few weeks ago with his surge through the field in a couple of the S.O.F races to start off the campaign. Now top of the board here in qualifying by 0.2 of a second. It's a 2-lap qualifying session. Keep in mind, 8 minutes on the board as we're at a road course this week for C-Fix competition. As drivers get themselves situated around the racetrack, it's important to mention you've got a race analysis for tonight's action. As mentioned, 16 laps on the docket tonight. No fast repair, but here's the major difference compared to the rest of the races on the schedule. Local cautions only when it comes to the road courses in this series, meaning if you have a spin, you won't have a caution to save you. You better not make mistakes tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. The margin for error in tonight's race is very, very slim, especially with no fast repair. You get loose, you spin out, you lose a lot of positions. As you mentioned, Justin, a lot of pros in tonight's race. So to lose to a position in this race is going to cost you dearly early on.
Take a look at some of the drivers in the field tonight. Camaro Gonzalez, amongst those in Division 3, for example, is amongst those who was able to make the top split cut. There were a lot of drivers, though, to register for tonight's events for the opening split of the season, or rather for this road course on this campaign night. More than 120 plus people registering, so a busy night of action to say the very least. Coming in for a lot of these drivers looking to try and make this top split. Keep in mind, drivers like Tyler Gary, Eddie Kerner, amongst those to keep an eye tonight with the eNASCAR experience.
It's a stacked field tonight as we're watching that 4-machine cross the start-finish line. He's currently going to be second on that grid. Just have about 2.5 minutes left here in qualifying, and that's amazing, Justin. With 100 entries, we have 20 that made the field here tonight. So this is the best of the best here on this fast Monday night.
Jordan Kuntz is amongst those continuing on an unfortunate moment when it comes to this 4-machine. This team that he's representing on this car, a week after joining, mind you, had shuttered per social media post. So Peak Performance Motorsports shut down via social media last week and announced a joining of alliances with Express Motorsports.
Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing here, Justin, but he's still rocking that on the back of that truck. Sliding coming out of the corner there. Very, very fast. He's trying to take that top spot. We'll watch him now as he comes in the last set of corners here at the Glen. See if he can knock that time off. Looks like he's doing pretty well so far.
Keep in mind, he is amongst those already done. In fact, we are currently waiting on just one driver who only completed one lap to indicate they're ready to advance to the race. Every single other driver in the field is waiting on the 24 truck before we end off qualifying. So, as drivers situate themselves and as Sean Stem currently extends the qualifying period, again, when it comes to the Glen tonight, how do you try and manage it in these trucks? Because it's very fun, it's very flow heavy, but it's very easy to lose that flow we've seen over the years.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the biggest aspect of the trucks at the Glen is the heaviness, it's the weight. You have to try to get these trucks around the corner. As you're seeing, you have to be very hard on the wheel. You also have to be patient, Justin. You can't get too aggressive early on in this race. You have to pick your opportunities. As mentioned, that down the first turn, downhill, braking zones, different cup layout here tonight. So patience, I think, here tonight is going to be key. Work those positions lap by lap and make sure you don't get too aggressive on exits.
See, one of the drivers trying to get some extra practice time in before the end of qualifying. That's Austin Ekstrom, currently 14th on the board. And that's what most of the drivers are doing. Tyler Gary and Zachary Henry doing the same. Making sure you have that fuel that's set up so critical for a race like this tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin, my question to you as we watch these trucks take qualifying, how important is it a qualifying spot here at the Glen? Is it the sort of track that maybe you can qualify in the middle of the grid and still have a shot? Or do you want to try to get maybe inside the top 5, top 10 here in this run?
Well, we've seen over the years at Watkins Glen, if you start amongst the top 5, you put yourself in a great spot. The further back you go, the more seconds you put behind the race leader and how much quicker you need to be long term. We'll see which drivers are quick tonight when it comes to our 16 laps from Watkins Glen. Our competitors now making their way to the starting grid, 24 drivers, a strength of field of 2,314 for tonight's action here at Maconi Entertainment. Let's take a look at how they'll start. Connor Yaroshak starts on the pole with a 1:12.8, the only driver in the 1:12s. Jordan Kuntz, one of the drivers competing for the championship, in second. Eddie Ball starts off in third alongside Ryan Andrew, second in the point standings, with eNASCAR competitor Tyler Gary in fifth spot. Zachary Henry starts sixth. Eric Royce in seventh, the one truck for tonight. Daniel Mosteller in eighth position. Jacob Snyder and Carson Barrett, your top 10 will.
Picking up in the 11th position, we have Bryson Long in that 15. Blake Hensley in that 21. We'll roll off 12th. The 13th position, we have Nick Dorwick in that 2. 14th, we have Austin Edstrom in that 14. 15th position, Peyton Howell in that 7. 16th position, Joey Masevich in that 12. 17th, we have Kyle Sizemore in that 16. 18, Sean Stam in that 24. 19th position is going to be Camilio Gonzalez in that 22. And rounding out our top 20 is Zach Saunders in that 17.
21st tonight, Louise Philip Hendo will start 21st. Chris Gutierrez in 22nd. Steven Schweizer and Jeremy Chisholm, the last driver to enter for tonight in the 23 truck. That lines up our drivers tonight for 16 laps from Watkins Glen International. So we get all situated and ready to go for tonight. Reminder that tonight's action brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more on the Guy Racing service. Subscriptions is available as low as $8 a month. They are the official setup shop of eNASCAR. Official series sponsor as well for the NASCAR C-Fix series this season. So the drivers get ready to roll from the starting grid. And as they get set, with one driver electing to start from the pits, Bryson Lawn, what are your keys to win tonight? Actually, check that. 2 drivers. Blake Hensley doing the same thing from the same row to start from the pit.
Yeah, for me, keys to win, as mentioned, be very patient. Make sure you keep these corners clean. Keep that truck clean. No fast repairs here in tonight's race, so you can't afford a missed opportunity. Also, that local caution aspect that you spoke about, Justin, if you spin out, you're not going to get that yellow flag to rescue you. So stay patient with this race. Increase your position just by going position by position. Don't want to get too aggressive on the racetrack. So what I'm looking for in tonight's race, Justin, is the driver that keeps the most calm, that's the most collected throughout tonight's race, and shoots up that grid in a fine and timely fashion.
In your opinion, who's the best of doing that tonight? Why?
Ooh, that's tough right there. I gotta go with our pole sitter, the only one that ran in the 13s right there, faster than the entire field. As you mentioned, a merger just happened between his two sponsors, so I think he's motivated to come out here tonight. Very, very fast qualifying time, so watch out for our pole sitter here. And this is the type of course too, Justin. If our leader can separate and hit those corners clean, you can wrap up the whole race here halfway through.
I believe you may have merged two different drivers together there in the midst of talking about the two different grouping partnerships together there. Of course, Euroshack amongst those in that pink machine that's been very quick all season on the ovals, especially the mile and a halfs. Jordan Kuntz amongst those, team shuffling. So just about all set to go here on Maconi Entertainment. Glad to have you with us for iRacing's virtual Watkins Glen International as we get set to go racing at the Glen. In your opinion, who do you think's got the best chance to charge from the back? There's a few of your top drivers, the points, mind you, and the teams tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see here. Justin, we're watching the back of the field, and we got to go with our homegrown guy there, Joey Masevich. Watch out there. You know, has Jeff Maconi spotting for him here tonight, so watch out for that. One of those tail end trucks here to make some moves through the grid.
Our racing safety car getting ready to peel off to start off tonight's action. It's the only time they'll see that car as they zip around this 2.45-mile road course. Off and away goes Euroshack. Green flag is out. We're underway from Watkins Glen. And a clean start just like that. No major contacts in the mount of the field. The two drivers in the back of the field. Already a quarter of the track back. All while they drift and slide up the S's for the first time.
Pretty clean so far. Single file on the top side of the grid. As you see, our leader's going to take us down into the corners. No aggression shown out of the drivers so far. A few battles here on the further back of the grid, Justin, as we're coming through that. Pretty clean so far as we exit the corner, staying in single file line.
It's hard to go side by side of the bus stop, albeit a great spot to make passes. No major pass attempts yet outside of a Stellar, trying to get alongside inside the top 10 with Zachary Henry. Shack already up 6/10. There's the side-by-side. Henry with the outside of the carousel. Cleared by the inside of the next corner. So already small packs forming up as a result of that side-by-side, though, to end the first lap. Difference already almost 1 second between the main pack and the second group.
And you see it right there, the gap between the first group and the second group. They're single file. Meanwhile, we're side by side here on the back side of the grid. This is a battle into the first corner. The 11 machine now. This is to stay inside the top 20 right there, Justin. You see they're still battling out, still side by side through the corners.
Keep in mind, a bit of the confusion there. That is 10 in sim. That's the 11 following one of the Tricon Garage Machine paint schemes available. iRacing service for drivers to run with. Royce, though, trying to hold on defensively in the midst of this pack. Howell, Nick Dornick, as well as Kyle Sizemore and Carson Barrett all lined up astern. They're losing touch of those top two already, or those two fighting side by side in front.
Yeah, excuse my confusion there, Justin. First time with this group of drivers, still trying to figure out who is who. Still competitive race so far here tonight. 2 laps in. We're going to come down to that front stretch here. Getting to know these drivers here. I'm glad to be with you here tonight, Justin. My first time here on the C-Fix series. Getting to see who's who here at the road course.
Stella, meanwhile, still trying to keep up with that Ryan Newman-esque theme paint scheme in front. Henry right now needing to close up 1.2 seconds to get up to Tyler Gary. First laps recorded in the 1:13.3s for the leaders. Right now, 1:13.6s in the heart of the pack, as far back as the 1:16s in the back of the field. And that's going to be the difficult part, keeping consistency up and making sure you keep that pace together as these tires burn off.
Pretty clean so far here in tonight's race. Oh, just as I say that, the 23 machine of Jeremy Chisholm is spinning on the corner. As you mentioned, though, Justin, only no local caution, so the caution flag will not fly. We're going to check that out, and it looks like that's just all by himself there.
And that was right in front of most of the drivers with problems in the opening lap, or those who started from the pit lane. Chisholm now last on the racetrack. Meanwhile, in live action, Joey Misevich has just missed the entire bus stop after ramming to the back end Camilo Gonzalez. So Misevich and his spotter, all of a sudden, having a lot to discuss on the radio.
Absolutely, and you see Misevich just inside the top 20 there in the 17th spot. He's still trying to make moves on that 19 at Gutierrez, but you see it right there, how hard this is at a road course, and we'll check out that picture-in-picture here on Maconi Entertainment. Man, that's hard impact there for the 22.
And Gonzalez now, with mandatory damage repair, out of the race. Have to come down to the pit road as a result of that contact. Keep in mind, Jeffrey Maconi, the spotter on that 12 machine in Sim 4 tonight, as Gonzalez rolls into the pit lane. So that leaves 23 still running. And the pressure's still building up at the front, you'd have to think, though, because, well, Euroshack's setting the pace. Jordan Kuntz is keeping up. Eddie Kerner, also expected to be quick here tonight, keeping up as well. Lockstep, the top three.
And I mentioned that when we kicked off the broadcast here tonight, if you can keep those corners clean, just keep to your positions, keep to your patterns, that upshifting, that downshifting, whatever you have to do, you can maintain this lead for a while. Now for Kuntz in that 4 machine, he has to do the exact same thing. He can't afford any small mistakes. He has to almost match the pace of the 11 here tonight.
Is being set solidly when it comes to Euroshack by 6-7 tenths. Keep in mind, Eddie Kerner is a solid driver in amongst himself. Works with the solid organization on the sim with Landon Huffman, I should rather say. You know where he did pick up some money from Landon Castle? The LCQC a few years ago, winning by 1,000th of a second, a $10,000 grand prize at the time.
That's pretty nice right there. As you see, he's trying to reel in the 4 of Kuntz, and it's basically a 3-truck battle right now. You see almost a 1.5-second gap between 3rd and 4th. We're going to ride on board here and watch this battle for a second. You see they're just trying to match each other's pattern through the corner. And if they keep doing this here, he's got a big run here on the corner. If you could just follow that along, and you see your a little bit of an oversteer coming out of the corner. That's going to cost him just a little bit.
Still maintaining, though, that's the bright side. But for the most part, things looking calm, already nearly halfway to the race. Keep in mind, these races expect to be quick throughout the week, especially with the distance today. But still, you can't afford to back down when it comes to a pace like this, because you back down in a race like this, guess what? 10 people are ready to pass by you and take your I rating.
Yeah, absolutely. For Euroshack right now in that lead, he can't worry about any of that. He just has to worry about hitting these corners. He looks in his rear view. He sees he has 2 hungry dogs behind him there in Kuntz and Kerner. And you see right there, that's a great shot here on Maconi Entertainment, what that gap is like between 3rd and 4th for Euroshack. If you can just keep it going, that 11 has a basic paint scheme here tonight, but there's no basic driving skill out of that 11. He's making it known here tonight at Glen.
Near contact with the wall, you may have heard some of that audio, actually. These drivers are getting so close to that edge of the Armco barrier, they risk destroying the car. I believe it might have been Kuntz who scraped the door on it.
We'll see if that affects him. He takes that corner very wide. Euroshack in that 11 is probably watching that in his rear view. And you see it right now, that lead is now cut down. Now it's now almost up to a 2nd. Very fast corner there for Kuntz in that 4 machine. Right now, the 11 of Euroshack's just teaching us how to do it here at the Glen. He'll come off the corner, and you see that 26 is trying to creep up the grid as well. But you see it right there on the scoring pylon, Justin, a huge drop-off from our 3rd and 4th, and then it just goes down from there.
Ryan Andrew and Tyler Gary, those 2 drivers, 4th and 5th, who are falling back from the leaders. Keep in mind, they're still running in the 114s, matching some of the pace of the leaders, but not consistently. Andrew, to be expected to do well. We've seen him do well on a lot of the short tracks this season. But Tyler Gary in particular, he runs a fair bit of road courses on top of his eNASCAR experience in the Coke Series.
Yeah, and that was my question coming into tonight's race. Who's going to be that road course ringer, sort of say? I say that with the utmost respect. You know, everybody's used to running ovals, super speedways, and you see almost a 3-wide battle there at the Glen, Joey. They thought about it there, Justin. You see Joey Misevich, he's trying to keep in the groove here tonight. These 3 trucks looks like they have quite the battle raging on.
Sean Stem electing to try and let them both go there. And once again, that was in the battle for 18th spot. Got to make up that I rating somehow.
Exactly. You can't think about positions here at a road course. You know that interval is going to be large. And for these guys, you're looking at 25, 24 seconds off the pace of the leader. You're basically just battling for positions on the racetrack. See what kind of lemonade you can make out of a lemon race here tonight.
By the way, Jeremy Chisholm out of the race officially. Chris Gutierrez happened to come down a few laps ago due to mandatory repairs from a crash on his own. Keep going just at the halfway mark this upcoming time by. Let's take a look at some of the battles. Henry has not had a chance to calm down this entire race. You know why? Mosteller has kept the pressure up. Up the inside again, nearly to the bus stop. These two dead even on lap time last time by. That's how close these two are.
Yeah, we're going to ride on board that 5, and you see he's just trying to find that window of opportunity. Oh my goodness. There he goes to the inside. He's going to take that position away as he moves up into the 6th spot. I don't think this battle is over though, Justin. You just see that 87 clear the way down the stretch.
Eric Royce able to close up to them as a result of all that fighting though. So Royce continuing to quietly run and use every bit of run-off space as possible in this.
You see that battle.
Was about to say, halfway point taken this time by. Cross flags up on the stripe. 8 laps to go. And the top 2, by the way, now broken away from Eddie Kerner. How long does that last? Euroshack getting really slidey at the end of this run, despite being the fastest truck in the track.
I was just about to say that there, Justin. Euroshack's lead now down to a half a second. You see Jordan Coots trying to do everything he can to keep these lap times going. He's eating at that lead like Pac-Man eats up those yellow little dots. And you see right now he's just waiting for Euroshack to make the smallest mistake. That might be it right there, as both of them are having a little bit of difficulty over those rumble strips. We'll come out of the corner to see if this battle can rage on. Now it's down to 0.3. We're going to have quite the battle for the win here down the stretch.
Kuntz yet again, though, if you notice on that onboard, actually make contact with the Armco barrier right up against that front fender. No damage. If you're any more inside on that corner, though, for speeding the bus stop, that's disaster.
Absolutely. He's just trying to play follow the leader right now. You saw him just put that nose right on the back bumper of Euroshack as we're going to cross the start-finish line, make it lap 10 right now. And you see Euroshack's very fast here on the front stretch. As you see, he's going to go into corner number 1. And man, Justin, I see this battle raging on. Kuntz just wants that lead. And you see, and you talked about it, though, if he gets any closer to the inside wall, that could cost him this race.
And the more they make mistakes, the more that allows the others to start to try and close in, keep in mind. If you notice on the pylon, there has been a change for that 6th spot. Mostella's been able to find a way around Zachary Henry, as we've seen. But here's the interesting part. Despite their pass, if you notice in that backdrop, they have closed up to Gary and Andrew to make it a 4-car battle for 4th spot.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. You're trying to lock in a top 5. Your chances of winning here tonight might be very slim. You still walk away with your head held high if you can get a top 5 position out of tonight's race. You see it right there. There's the 26 machine. You see the Maconi Setup Shop. Awesome sponsor on there. We're going to ride on board right now with Daniel Monastery. You see he's right there in that 6th spot. If he can climb up to Andrew and get that top 5, boy, that'd be like winning the race.
Monaster, keep in mind, last time by, at least a second nearly quicker than those two in front because they're side-by-side squabbling. Gary starting to run away a bit with 6 laps to go in the race. Henry and Royce have now fallen off the back end of this grouping. Your biggest mover, by the way, Zach Saunders up 6 spots from the 20th position. Most spots lost still is Bryson Lawn from starting from the pit lane.
Keep an eye out on that lead right now. Still about a half a second between Euroshack and Kuntz up there. You see Zach Saunders. Big run here tonight, up those 6 spots. As you mentioned, he's all by himself on the racetrack there. Nobody really to compete with. So it looks like he's locked down that 14th spot for now.
There's some bad news, though, in the midst of that. He's only gaining 5 I rating by gaining all those spots. Because he's the 17 truck. It's still a positive. Put that politely. Meanwhile, Coming up to 5 laps to go, the leaders work through. No one has been able to get alongside the 11 since the drop of the green flag. Not even at the drop when you think about it. Before the pace car dropped off is the better way to put it. Can Kuntz close up this gap and cause a mistake? They are still within a tenth or two of pace.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mentioned when we kicked off the broadcast here tonight at a road course. If you start in that pole position or around that pole position, if you can get the lead early, get out to that clean air, you can essentially dominate, Justin. You know, we've seen road course after road course here. If you can keep that pattern going, keep hitting those corners, keep hitting those shifting marks, as Euroshack's doing here tonight, it's going to be a tough battle. Kuntz is trying everything he can to try to get up to the top of the grid, but boy, he is running out of laps here tonight.
Yeah, that first sector's been the major difference mark, it seems, though. Kuntz nearly slides and cuts through the bus stop. That's a cost of 0.2 of a second. So just like that, Kuntz, furthest back he's been all night, 0.9 of a second. Was about to say, with how loose those back tires have been sliding around up the S's, Kuntz has been having to lift a lot up the hillside. Euroshack has not.
No, and I think with that very, very small mistake there for Kuntz, I think that might be the race for going any kind of major mistake from Euroshack. I think right now Euroshack can make a small mistake and still have enough to maintain that lead. We see our 3 trucks, our podium right there as we cross the line, going to make it lap 13 into 1, actually 12 right there as Euroshack takes us into 1. And Justin, as we watch Euroshack take these corners, I got to say, this is a master class at a road course. We haven't seen him make any mistakes so far.
None whatsoever, it seems like. Very minimal in terms of incident points, likely as well. One of the rising stars in this entire C-Fix side of iRacing's platform continuing to shine, because in the past year, he's gained somewhere around 2,000-3,000 iRating. For those to give context, that is not easy to do in less than a year unless you win almost every race you're part of or run on pure consistency. Guess what? Euroshack is one of those drivers that have showcased pure consistency whenever he's decided to run in this time slot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about the 2,000 iRating there. That's not just being consistent. That's winning, as you mentioned. That's going out and winning almost every race you compete in right now. Euroshack and that 11's making it known, but we jump back the grid just a little bit. This is a battle for a top 5. As you see, that 5 machine has caught up to that 9 right on that back bumper. Justin, this might be the battle here at the end of the race with 2 laps to go.
It's for the top 5. Andrew, a little deeper on the brakes, a little smoother. Monster not able to get alongside. Maconi Esports driver trying to play the defense.
Yeah, as mentioned, offense scores points, defense wins championships, and right now Andrew is trying to hold it down for that 5th spot, trying to get a top 5, as you mentioned, out of 100 different entries here tonight. To walk away with a top 5 would feel like winning the race, but boy, he's got a hungry dog behind him trying to hold him off here with 2 laps to go.
Much better run to the bus stop. Stir trying to show the nose. Andrew trying to bobble the back end to hold on. Just about parking it to try and hold on before the gear shift.
Oh, that's so close right there, Justin. That's airtight as Andrew's still holding on to that 5th spot. He knows Monster's right there trying to get around. Not going to happen just yet, but all hats off to them both for keeping it clean right now, because I know the 5 machine just wants to put that. Oh, my goodness, as Andrew gets loose off the corner.
Here comes the run for 5th. 5 trucks showing, but not committing to the 90.
And I think that's the right move there, Justin. You don't want to commit too much and then have Andrew come down on you, and then you both take each other out. You want to pick that opportunity. You want to be patient, as I mentioned to kick off the broadcast. Patience is a virtue at a road course, and right now, I think the 5 machine is just trying to pick his point on the racetrack. Oh my goodness, he just keeps trying to get to the inside of Andrew.
Once again, up the inside. Not able to get alongside, though. Can he force a mistake to the bus stop? That's where Andrew's been struggling the past 2 laps. There he goes. Ooh. For the look of the bumper. Forced to go up the track on the checkup. That might seal it for Andrew with the defense.
Yeah, Andrew's just trying to, as you mentioned, just trying to park that position. He knows that 5 is right there, trying to do everything he can to hold on to a top 5. As we go into the last couple of corners here, we just peek up at the top of the grid. Euroshack now has a 2.5 lead with 1 lap to go into corner number 1.
1 lap to go here in tonight's action for the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series S.O.F race. The battle is on for second. Jordan Kuntz has fallen off from the race leader. Eddie Kerner looking to try and find a way around the youngster.
Kerner keeps looking to the inside. We saw this battle for 5th. Now we're up to the 2nd and 3rd positions. The same type of battle, but you see that wheel movement right there out of Kerner. Just trying to keep that thing on the racetrack. Oh my goodness, that thing is super loose inside the cockpit.
Behind number 5, Stellar trying the left side for the bus stop. Andrew again has the preferred groove. Here comes Stellar trying to get the run off the diamond. Gets alongside Andrew as Andrew loses it. Ryan Andrews slides up the track and misses the carousel. He drifts it. He nearly hits the barriers. He still holds on to 6th as he rejoins the racetrack.
Wow, a little Tokyo drifting here at the Glen. My hat's off to Andrew keeping that thing together as we watch Euroshack just complete a few more corners here at the Glen. He comes down the front stretch.
Connor Euroshack comes away with the checker flag and wins the S.O.F race at Watkins Glen International. Kuntz and Kerner the top 3. Gary holding on for 4th. Stellar in 5th. Eric Royce able to take away 6th from Ryan Andrew at the stripe. Jacob Snyder, the series points leader, comes across in the top 10. And there's a crash in the final corner. That's Payne and Howell. Carson Barrett sits by for 10th. Sizemore also gets by. Nick Dornick has also crashed in that incident with Howell.
What a race. What a race, Justin, as Euroshack in that 11 did exactly what I said was needed to be done. If you can get out in that clean air, get out in that lead, hit those corners exactly right. We didn't see him make any mistakes here tonight. Actually won this race by almost a 2.5. So what a masterclass at a road course it is for Euroshack.
Somebody tell Euroshack the race is over. Well, technically, in terms of instant points, it's not over yet because Lawn and Schweizer still have to cross. But he's still pushing like he wants to get an extra lap in. And once again, top split victory tonight for Euroshack, one of the rising drivers of the series. Not in the midst of the championship fight yet with the drops, but we'll see in the later stages. Things close up when it comes to truck number 11. Race results now locked in. Let's take a look towards those as he burns it on down. Tonight's top split victory. Euroshack, the Canadian, in first. Jordan Kuntz in second. Kerner, Gary, Stellar, the top 5. Royce, Andrew, Henry, Jacob Snyder, and Barrett, your top 10 after an incident in the final corner. Shuffle the end of that top 10 run in order.
Yeah, picking up the 11th position, Kyle Sizemore. Peyton Howell at 12th. Nick Dorwick 13th. Zach Saunders 14th. Blake Hensley 15th. Austin Edstrom 16th. Luis Velopeno is 17th. Joey Masevich, we saw him on the racetrack, finishes 18th. Sean Stom 19th. And rounding out our top 20, Bryson Long.
21st tonight, Steven Schweizer. Then the DNFs. Jeremy Chisholm, Chris Gutierrez, and Camaro Gonzalez all out of the race. Double-digit laps down. We'll take a break. We come back. More coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. You're watching the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series S.O.F race from Watkins Glen.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series S.O.F race here at Maconi Entertainment, brought to you in part by Maconi Competition, specializing in event organization, promotion, and execution. Contact Maconi Setup Shop LLC for all inquiries. Getting all set for post-race coverage. A few drivers having some solid runs, a few having some very solid slides around the racetrack. Those closing stages. As we wait for the rest of the top three to take the time to speak with us, why don't we talk with Ryan Andrew? Ryan, you had to fight to hold on for 7th.
Yeah, it was definitely very hard there at the end. I didn't have a whole lot of grip and was trying to hold off Demos there and just kind of lost it, and it's the carousel that was able to save it.
What was going through your mind in the midst of that drift through the entire carousel to try and hold on?
I was just trying to not overcorrect because I knew that if it started going back to the left, I was probably going to hit the wall. So just lifted out of the gas, waited for it to straighten up, and tried to get the power down again.
But in terms of the positive as well, when it comes to tonight, second in the point standings entering the evening, still a solid points night for tonight's racing, especially with already some of the drivers, especially yourself, having 8 weeks counting to the points. What is that thought process like, knowing you and Jacob Snyder fighting aggressively for that points championship?
Yeah, he definitely opened it up at some points, but I've been able to close it down a little in the past couple weeks, and just we got Milwaukee and Darlington coming up, which will be our only 2 chances to get the championship.
Well, Ryan, congrats on the run tonight. You finish off in 7th. You still gain iRating. That's positive.
Yeah.
Ryan Andrew coming away with a solid run tonight. Meanwhile, Joey Masevich, lots of questions for you.
That's me.
Yes, indeed, it is you. First of all, talk us through the contact that ended Camilo Gonzalez's race.
Yeah, so I ended up behind him for some reason, and he'd been holding me up for the whole lap. So my thought was I was going to kind of outdrive him coming out of the bus stop, beat him out of the carousel, and get him on the later half of the track. And what ended up happening was he braked about 100 yards before I was expecting him to. I was planning to stop a little early just to give him that room and get the jump on him. And he just stopped his truck right there, and my foot was on its way to the brake pedal when we touched.
Seeing that right now in the Maconi Entertainment picture-in-picture for reference here. But in turn, you also had Jeffrey Maconi in the headset tonight. How helpful was Maconi tonight?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I was a 3.
Wow. That's your team owner.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much you can do in a 16-lap race with a fixed setup and no pit stops. Not much a crew chief can help you with, especially when most of the on track was just follow the leader around where I was. He did his best, and he kept me in tune with what Ryan was doing up front, which was kept me entertained the whole race. Maconi Entertainment style.
Well, yes, indeed. And was hearing this with Ryan Andrew, how loose it was tonight. How would you describe the feel of this truck, especially since you're in the heart of a lot of traffic?
Oh, boy. Yeah. One thing about this fixed setup provided by iRacing is it does not want to go straight. And when it's turning, it doesn't want to turn as much as you want it to. It's usually more than you want it to. If we ever get our hands on these fixed setup series setups, they'll drive a lot better than what you were seeing.
Well, once you get back to your team, congratulations on losing 47 iRating for 18th.
Yeah. Back to the ringmeister I go.
Joey Masevich coming away with a finish of all time. I'd like to thank him for the time speaking with us here in post-race coverage here at Maconi Entertainment. An interesting one to say at the very least here tonight from Watkins Glen International. But on that note, it's time to head off and say goodbye. I'd like to thank you for tuning in, as well as the race sponsor, Maconi Setup Shop. So as our broadcast partner, Maconi Competition. So on calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince alongside Will Tiller in the booth with Eddie Smith producing. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks for the entire staff for hard work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.